So hello and welcome back to another video on the Cat S wrote off BMW E91. Before we get into things, make sure you give this video a like. It really does help me out and it shows your appreciation. Now then, so I've shown you guys this car pretty quickly in the previous video where I announced this car, and in this one I want to go into depth with everything that I can visually see, and we'll give it a scan of course and show everything that is wrong with this car. So I guess first and foremost we will again just go around the bodywork. You have seen it in the previous video, but the bodywork on this car in general isn't the greatest. The front bumper's definitely been repaired and resprayed at some point. Not the best at all. I'm pretty sure even I could do a better job than that. Rear bumper, as I mentioned, is the exact same. Very dull. Paint cracking, flaking off, as bad as you like. Again, even I could do a better job than that. All around the car there's various scratches here and there, and like if you wanted the paintwork to be perfect you'd definitely have to do a full respray, but we're not here to talk about the bodywork. We're not even here to talk about the interior, which the interior is dirty, messy, whatever you want to say, various rips here and there. It's been used as a bit of a workhorse, it's kind of been used as a van for someone. I think someone's definitely been putting way too much stuff in here, it seems, and yeah, it's just ripped the headliner. But the seats and all that, they're in fair condition, they're leather, so very easy to clean. Everything should come up quite nicely. But yeah, that is all of the cosmetic stuff out of the way. We want to look at the mechanical stuff. Is the engine looking and sounding healthy? And finally, once we get this thing plugged in, is it going to show us a horror show of fault codes? Let's get the bonnet popped. As I mentioned in the previous video, very filthy in here, definitely need a good clean. These leaves in here, they need to be removed. Those drains need a good clean through. Chance is that underneath here is already full of water. Is it? No, but the drain's probably blocked up, so it's probably only a matter of time before that does get filled up with water. As I mentioned, it can take out your ABS pump. And on the other side we have our engine ECU box. If that drain down there gets blocked up, that can fill it with water and take out your ECU. So yeah, we definitely want to get rid of all these leaves and give the drains a good clear out. But I guess in here we should begin with just checking some of the levels. So we have electric power steering, so no power steering fluid to check. Of course we can check the engine oil, we can check the coolant, and that's about it, I guess. So the previous owner did say he changed his oil himself. There is no service history with this car, by the way. So let's see if we're at the correct level at least. Well, I mean, we have oil at least, which is a good start. I mean, to be fair, I don't think he would have got very far driving the car here if it didn't have oil. Are we at the correct level though? So it's at about the midway point on the dipstick, which is fine. I usually like to have it around the maximum, but again, you know, personal preference. That is fine as it is. Do we have a milkshake underneath the oil filler cap? I mean, we shouldn't do because we don't have it on the dipstick, but it's always worth checking. There's a bit of sludge build up on there, which, you know, it's not terrible, but probably hasn't had oil changes as regular as I would usually like, which on these N47 engines is every 5,000 miles. So I'll probably look at doing a full service on this thing at some point. But again, we'll just check the coolant. That's actually a little bit low. And it's the wrong coolant as well. Seen that before. So the coolant level should be up to there, but it's down there, so yeah, that's a little bit low. Do we have a leak, or has it just been topped up and, you know, not been topped up to the correct level? No idea. I guess that's for us to find out, but yeah, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see. You're not going to be able to see, but that is red coolant in there. Should be blue coolant on these BMWs. But yeah, at least we have some coolant, I guess. Now, as the engine bay is very dirty, that means that oil leaks and the likes probably haven't been cleaned up. And to be honest, I can't really see too many oil leaks. A little bit wet at the bottom down there. Could that be oil filter housing? Maybe. No idea at this point. Oh, that's interesting. That's the AC pipe. Why is there oil all over that? Has someone disconnected the AC pipe at some point? I would say that's what somebody's done. I think someone's disconnected the AC pipe. It's just shot all of the PAG oil everywhere, and that means the AC is probably not going to work. I mean, it is like winter now, so we're not really going to be able to tell, but yeah, if that shot all of that oil all over the AC pipe, then yeah, it's definitely not going to work. So probably needs fresh oil and a regas in the AC system, I would say. Let's lift up the engine cover to see if we find any mysteries under here. Oh, by the way, this is the N47 D20C engine. This is the kind of the later revision of the N47. I had the N47 D20A engine, which this is a 2010 engine, so it has the revised inlet manifold, slightly different EGR cooler system and all the rest of it, so it's going to be interesting to work on this. Should be a little bit different. A lot of oil around this pipe. I'm not going to remove this because these are brittle as anything. As soon as you take them off, they just snap, so you know, ask me how I know that. Let's lift up this insulation cover, see if we have any leaking injectors or anything, which all looks pretty good under there actually. I mean, it's had a timing chain supposedly about 50,000 miles ago, so should have had all new injector seals and all the rest of it, so yeah, should be fine for that. But yeah, in general, apart from the engine looking very dusty, it doesn't look too bad in here, to be honest. I believe it's had a replacement DPF as well in the past 20,000 miles or so. That's what the previous owner said. Probably not for a genuine one because they are, well, it would have cost more than the car to buy that. So yeah, it's probably an aftermarket one, but whether or not we delete that at some point, no idea yet. Yeah, we're looking pretty good in the engine bay. Of course, if there is any problems with the engine or the gearbox or, you know, any of the running gear, we're not really going to know about that until we take this thing for a good drive. But yeah, I guess next we should just go ahead, get it plugged into a laptop, get this loaded up, and then see if we have any fault codes. I think there is one or two that do pop up when I put the key in, just on the dash. Ask her if she wants to stay a while. Right, okay, so see what we have. Gotta shut the door to shut it up. Right, so we definitely have a bulb out of some sort. Parking light front right and left failure. So is that two parking lights we have out? That seems like a bit of a coincidence to me. Do we have a module failure of some kind? Let's have a look. Vehicle status. Check control. Yeah, both parking lights out. Like I said, that seems like a bit of a coincidence to me, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's something different. Let's have a look at all of the service requirements. Not that this is really anything to go off, but you know, it can kind of give you a good guide. Vehicle check, I mean, vehicle check, that just means like a service. It doesn't mean anything in particular. Front brake pads, we have 2,200 miles left. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do brakes all around anyway. I don't think the discs are looking too happy. Brake fluid, next month, okay. I think this MOT is due next month as well. Yeah, vehicle inspection, yeah, next month, okay, yeah. Engine oil, 4,300 miles. I mean, I'm not going to trust that. I'm going to do it soon as. Rear brake pads, 13,000 miles. Again, we'll probably do the brakes around, so I'm not too bothered about that, but it's fun to check, I guess. Here's something that's slightly annoying, and this is a common problem actually on the E90s. This catch here, I guess it gets loose and it just doesn't stay up, so I might replace this for a new cubby hole, or I may just stick some Velcro on, which most people do, just to hold it up in place. I mean, I never really use this anyway, if I'm being honest. Stay. That's interesting though. The OBD port, why has it been pushed right in like that? Unless it's been snapped off. I think it's only held in by like a couple of screws. Yeah, I can see it's been snapped off. Someone's tried to push way too hard onto the OBD connector and it's just pushed it back. So that's kind of just chilling back there now. There we go. Pins don't look damaged or anything though, which is good. All the wires are still in. But let's get, like I said, a diagnostic cable and ISTA connected up, and we can see what the health of this car is really looking like. So while I was waiting for ISTA and the laptop to load up, I just thought I would check the wheel bolt situation, and I notice on just this wheel it had a locking wheel bolt on. All the other three did not have one on, so I thought I would check in the boot to see if there was a locking wheel bolt key, and there is not. So rather than buy a locking wheel bolt key just for one wheel nut, all I've done is smacked a 22mm socket over the locking wheel bolt, and yeah, smacked it on there quite tightly. It literally came straight off. So I'm going to be replacing this bolt for just a regular wheel bolt. And so it just means that it's going to be much easier to get the wheels off when these have to come off. I'm guessing this wheel, or this tyre rather, has probably not been replaced since the previous owner had it then. Probably because they couldn't get the locking wheel bolt off. Now then, the juicy stuff. ISTA has decided to load up. So let's scan it for some fault codes. Straight up, I cannot see any red modules, which means the ECU is not responding, so we don't appear to have any dead modules as such. 13 fault codes already though. Interesting. Starter motor, terminal 50, that fault code is non-existent. Side marker light right faulty, side marker light left faulty, and they are existent, which would make sense because that is the two error codes we're getting on the dash. IHKA ventilation flap motor and the auxiliary heater, they are both non-existent. I'm just going to ignore those for the time being. This is an interesting one. Brake vacuum sensor signal, and that is existent. Zero quantity adaptation injector cylinder 3, that's not existent. Electric fan activation, two different fault codes. One is existent and the other is not. This is an interesting one. Clutch slip monitoring plausibility. I hope that doesn't mean, you know, the clutch, as in the clutch on the engine, because the previous owner said that was replaced like about 60,000 miles ago, I think it was, along with the timing chain and the flywheel. So I really hope we don't have a slipping clutch in this car, because that would kind of be a bummer. And then just a couple more injector faults for cylinder 1 and cylinder 2, and then another for the electric fan, which very interesting. Not terrible news. I mean, I've jumped in the car before and there's literally been 80 fault codes, so yeah, the fact that we only have 13, and I'm guessing these haven't been cleared in a good while, is kind of good news. So we are just going to do the usual delete fault memory and then start up the engine and see what comes back. Okay, so after deleting the fault codes, there are 4 still left in the fault memory. Just have the engine running. I'm going to switch it off and then run a check once more. So after running another test, still just the 4 fault codes. Let's see exactly what they are. Side marker left and right, we already knew about them. Brake, vacuum sensor signal, and electric fan activation. I'm not too concerned with those. Obviously we will look into them, but I guess it's a good thing that the majority of the other ones, like the injector faults, the clutch slipping fault, I guess that will really only come back once we take it for a drive, if it is going to come back. Hopefully it doesn't, of course. Hopefully it was just an old historic fault code and that's why they swapped out the clutch in the first place. But yeah, not looking too bad, if I'm being honest. I think next we do need to take this car for a drive, see how it handles, see if we have any knocks, any bangs, any squeaks, any rattles, all of those usual selling terms when it comes to sticking one of these cars on Facebook or eBay or the likes. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this car drives. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit tired now, 183,000 miles, but as I said, it's in decent enough shape, and it should serve me as a good solid daily driver. Oh, just something I noticed as well, it says, of course, 3 Series E91 sports wagon. Does that mean that this has sport suspension, I would imagine? Let's have a look outside and let's see how low it sits. I mean, at the front, I don't know, is that low or is that SE height? At the back, I mean, that kind of looks pretty low, I guess. I would expect SE to be slightly higher than that. Of course, same around the other side as well, which is a good thing. Means you don't have any snap springs or the like. Let's just take a quick look at the rear end, because I know the rear subframes are steel, so they do like to rust. Actually in pretty good condition, actually, to be fair. One of my 1 Series is a lot worse than this. Yeah, not looking too bad under there. Well then, first kind of initial inspection of the car, not too bad. Better than I expected, really. I mean, I know we kind of knew about the cosmetic side of things, but the fact that I bought this car sight unseen, the previous owner literally dropped it off at my house, so I didn't have a chance to check it over, negotiate or whatever. I just said, yep, I'll have it, I'm happy with the price. Of course I do all my own work anyway, so if there is anything particularly wrong with it, then of course I'll put it right. But yeah, pretty happy. I guess next we need to take it for a good proper test drive, and then if there is anything else, then I'm guessing it will probably flag up at that point. Fingers crossed though, things go okay with that, and yeah, we don't have any major issues. The big one is really, I mean, I'm hoping he hasn't lied about the clutch, the flywheel, and indeed the timing chain, because to do all them, I mean, I've done it before, of course, on my now dad's BMW 520D. It's an engine out job. It's a good few days work, you know, doing bits and pieces here and there. It's not something that I really want to do again on this, if I'm being completely honest. So if I don't have to do that, then I won't be doing it. But yeah, I really hope he was kind of telling the truth with that. He didn't have any receipts. He said it was just a local garage that done it. So, you know, it's one of them. I guess I just had to take his word for it. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty pleased. It's a £1,400 car. You know, you can't expect too much. So yeah, overall happy. Hopefully you are enjoying seeing videos on this car. I've never done one of these before. Lots of videos to come, I'm sure. Please give this video a like if you have enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you have not already done so. And I'll see you all in the next one.